we're going to discuss a topic that the majority of men fail to grasp. They assume attraction is a kind of mystical spark, an event that is either immediate or it's a closed case. They accept that when a woman states, "I don't see you that way," it's the final word. However, that's not the reality. Attraction doesn't function in that manner. Attraction is not an unchangeable state. It isn't permanent. It isn't etched in granite. Attraction is fluid. It's based on emotion. It is constructed from the feelings she experiences in your presence. And this implies that even if she isn't feeling it at this moment, that can be altered if you understand your actions. The actual query is, can you read the indicators? Do you grasp what causes her mind to awaken and begin to perceive you in a new way? That is the insight I am about to provide to you. Women are beings of emotion, and this is not a criticism. It is just their internal wiring. A woman doesn't draft a list of qualifications like a software algorithm. She doesn't state, "He's tall, he's wealthy, he's handsome, approved, I'm interested." No, she experiences attraction based on vibe, demeanor, and your self-conduct. A man who is clingy, desperate, constantly pursuing, and pleading for her focus extinguishes attraction. But a man who remains solid, concentrates on his path, and still demonstrates self-assurance around her without overextending, that man piques her interest. And interest is the gateway to attraction. The majority of men don't succeed because they mistake approval for genuine interest. They believe that by making her feel at ease, always concurring with her, and never posing a challenge, she will just develop feelings for them. But the reverse occurs. She relegates them to the friends category, in the harmless container, in the he's not thrilling classification. But when you can interpret the signals and generate the correct vibe, she is unable to place you in that container. Instead, she begins to view you in a new light. She begins to register your demeanor, your quiet, your self-mastery. That is the point where the change occurs. This is the reason you must grasp that attraction isn't about pursuit. It's about strategic placement. It's about building your own internal worth, demonstrating self-control, possessing ambitions, and navigating life with self-assurance. Even if she is indifferent at the moment, your personal conduct can activate that change. And once she begins to register these indicators, she will start to perceive you not just as another guy, but as the guy she desires to be near. 1. Self-assurance is the primary draw. If you want to pull in any woman, even when she is indifferent at the start, the very first principle you must grasp is this. Self-assurance is the true magnetic force. Females are instinctively pulled toward self-assurance, much like a flame is pulled toward oxygen. Lacking it, there's no ignition. And here is the curious part. Self-assurance is unrelated to being the most handsome man in the vicinity, the wealthiest, or the most statuesque. It is entirely connected to your demeanor, your speech, and your belief in your own value. A woman can detect self-assurance the instant you enter a space. She perceives it in your vibe, in your posture, and in your vocal cadence, and if you are deficient in it, she perceives that as well. Now, most men commit the error of feigning self-assurance. They exert too much effort. They behave loudly, arrogantly, or with excessive aggression to show they are self-assured. But females can detect inauthentic self-assurance from a great distance. Genuine self-assurance doesn't have to be loud. Genuine self-assurance is composed. It's stable. It's immovable. It is the manner of your posture without hunching. It is the way you hold her gaze without intimidation. It is the way you talk deliberately and articulately instead of scrambling your words. Genuine self-assurance is when you do not feel compelled to amaze her because you are already secure in your own worth. That is the type of vibe that causes her to pause and reconsider. Here is the reality. If she is currently uninterested, one of the quickest methods to reverse that is by demonstrating assurance in your own path. Do not attempt to sway her with rhetoric. Demonstrate it with your demeanor. Concentrate on your objectives. Move with intention. Speak with conviction. And when you do offer her your focus, do not appear as though you are craving her validation. Offer it like a man who has other choices, who is whole regardless of her presence. This generates an enigma. and enigma feeds attraction. Remember this: females are not captivated by males who plead for affirmation. They are captivated by males who affirm themselves. A man who prizes himself, who has faith in himself, who doesn't recoil when tested, that man inherently becomes appealing, even to the woman who previously believed she was not interested. 2. Enigma generates interest. If self-assurance is the force, then enigma is the catalyst that holds her focus. Consider this: when an item is completely understood, when no further revelations are pending, the human mind's attention wanes. That is our nature. We grow tired of things that are foreseeable. Females are the same. When you expose your entire existence to her, when you reveal all your details too quickly, when you become overly accessible, her interest fades. And when interest perishes, attraction evaporates. Conversely, when she senses there is an aspect of you she cannot fully comprehend, she grows fascinated. That fascination causes her thoughts to keep revisiting you. The majority of men spoil this aspect without even knowing it. They divulge too much. They are too talkative. They unveil their vulnerabilities, feelings, and goals in the initial few encounters. For what reason? They are starved for comprehension. But this is the dilemma. If she is already aware of all your facets, what motive does she have to ponder you later? None. Enigma is the thing that occupies her thoughts when you are absent. Enigma is what makes her analyze conversations in her mind, attempting to understand you, and when her mind is occupied with you, attraction is developing. So, how is enigma formed? It's straightforward. Do not be completely transparent from the start. Communicate with self-assurance, but allow some things to remain unspoken. Present her with facets of your existence, but do not display the complete canvas. Recount experiences, but not every intimate fact. And crucially, maintain an existence independent of her. Allow her to observe that you have ambitions, hobbies, and commitments that do not center on her. Once she recognizes you are not fully known to her, she will instinctively desire to learn more. That interest gradually transforms into attraction. Here is the reality. A man who is foreseeable is easily dismissed, but a man who retains some enigma is memorable. Females are instinctively drawn to puzzles, and if you present as one, she will not disregard you. Even if she was indifferent at the start, enigma puts an idea in her head. She will begin to ask, who is this person really? What is he withholding? Why does he not require my approval like the others? And that wondering is the initial move toward an emotional bond. 3. Emotional regulation is strength. Among the most potent methods to attract a woman, even if she is indifferent at this moment, is demonstrating emotional regulation. Most men fail to see this, but females persistently probe men, often subconsciously. They will utter things to gauge your response. They will withdraw to observe if you pursue. They will become distant to see if you lose your composure. And this is the point where most men stumble. They allow their feelings to dictate their actions. They become visibly distressed. They plead. They over-justify. Or they attempt to compel her to feel something. The instant you forfeit emotional regulation, you forfeit her regard in her estimation. Why? Because females are drawn to power. And power is not simply physical brawn or finances. Genuine power is the capacity to stay composed when challenged. It is the capacity to remain centered when events do not unfold as you wished. When you can meet her gaze and remain unbothered, even when she is behaving aloof, she perceives your strength, and strength is appealing. View it this way. If a female withdraws and you immediately pursue her, what signal are you transmitting? You are communicating that she has dominion over you. You are communicating that her validation is more critical than your own dignity. But when she withdraws and you stay composed, when you do not erupt, when you proceed to concentrate on your own life without pursuing, you demonstrate that you are not controlled by her disposition. That makes her inquisitive. That makes her reconsider. That makes her question why you are so solid when other men disintegrate. Here is the reality. Emotional regulation is the dividing line between the men she exploits for focus and the men she wants. A male who is tranquil, patient, and in command of his own state proves his scarcity. He proves that he is not easily swayed. And when a woman senses she cannot readily manage you, she regards you more highly, and regard is the bedrock of attraction. Therefore, if she is indifferent to you at this moment, the optimal action is not to plead or dispute. The optimal action is to remain composed, stay centered, and demonstrate that your emotional state is not negotiable. This one action alters the power structure, because while most men compromise themselves trying to gain her favor, you remain upright, and that distinction makes you memorable. 4. Prioritize your own worth. Here is a reality most men fail to grasp. If you do not prize yourself, no female will. Attraction begins with your self-perception. A vast number of men believe the path to a woman's heart is to elevate her, hail her as royalty, and establish her as the focal point of their universe. But here is the stark truth. When you behave as if she is superior, she will, in time, behave as if you are inferior. Why? This is because individuals mirror the worth you place on yourself. If you demonstrate that your universe hinges on her, she will deduce that you lack other significant things in your existence, and nothing extinguishes appeal more rapidly than a male with no sense of self outside of a female. When you prize your own self, you transmit a different signal. You demonstrate that you are a man of principles. You are a man with limits. You are a man who honors his own schedule, his vitality, and his ambitions. And females perceive this immediately. Even if she was initially indifferent, observing your dignified conduct, seeing you command respect by your movement through life, her perception alters. Abruptly, you are not merely one more guy attempting to secure her focus. You are the guy who doesn't plead for it. That distinction sets you apart. The majority of men expend their prime energy on females who are not reciprocating. They give up their schedules, finances, and dignity just to maintain her presence. But when you reverse the roles and concentrate on prizing yourself first, you compel her to approach you. She begins to question why you do not pursue her as others do. She begins to ask herself why your validation seems more difficult to obtain. And that is the point where attraction ignites. Here is the reality: a female can only regard a man who regards himself. If you permit her to disrespect you, she might tolerate you, but she will never want you. But if you demonstrate that you operate by your own code, that you guard your vitality, that you only allocate your time to those who are truly worthy, you become an exception, and exceptional men are invariably appealing. Thus, recall this: the higher you rate your own worth, the higher she will rate you. Even if she is indifferent now, your self-regard can make her perceive you in a light she never had before. 5. Cease pursuing. Begin guiding. Among the largest errors men commit when a female is indifferent is pursuing her. They dispatch excessive messages. They phone too frequently. They attempt to validate their worth via exertion, believing determination will sway her. But the truth is straightforward. The more you pursue, the quicker she flees. Pursuing indicates your dependency. Guiding indicates her potential need for you. And females are not instinctively attracted to those who follow. They are attracted to those who guide. When you cease pursuing and commence guiding, you alter the equilibrium of influence. Rather than attempting to integrate into her existence, you establish an existence so robust, so driven, that she desires to be included in yours. This is the distinction the majority of men fail to grasp. A male who pursues is like all the rest, foreseeable, needy, interchangeable. But a male who guides is distinct. He forms conclusions. He possesses a clear path. He understands his destination, with or without her. That vibe is compelling. Consider this: guidance is not about managing her. It is about managing yourself. It's about steering your own course with self-assurance and foresight. When you enter a space, others can sense it. When you speak, others pay attention because you communicate with conviction. And when you engage with her, she senses that you are not searching for her validation. You are merely extending an invitation into your reality. That distinction makes her view you with entirely new eyes. The majority of females are not captivated by the male who warps his existence to gratify them. They are captivated by the male who possesses an existence so compelling that she wishes to join it. And here is the hidden key. When you cease the pursuit, you inherently become more appealing. Why? Because rarity generates worth. If you are not perpetually accessible, if you are not perpetually pursuing, she begins to question why. She begins to think about you more. She begins to understand that your focus is uncommon, and that which is uncommon is always more prized. So if she is currently indifferent, do not pursue her. Guide your own existence with lucidity, meaning, and power. Show her that you are progressing regardless, and if she wishes to accompany you, excellent. If not, you remain unstoppable. That mentality by itself makes you the male she is unable to disregard. 6. Steadfastness constructs confidence. If you wish to attract any woman, even one who is indifferent at the start, you must grasp the strength of steadfastness. Appeal is not solely based on the initial meeting. It is about her observations across time. Anybody can feign self-assurance for a brief period. Anybody can enact an enigma for a single day. But genuine power is revealed when your nature remains firm week after week. And that is where most men falter. They begin with intensity, but then they falter. They try to dazzle her initially, then their vitality wanes. They make assurances they do not honor. They claim to be focused on their ambitions, but then they become sidetracked. Females perceive these minor inconsistencies, and each time you violate your steadfastness, you shatter her confidence in you. And lacking that confidence, there can be no attraction. Here is the reality. Steadfastness demonstrates worth. If you claim to be regimented, be regimented. If you claim to be pursuing ambitions, then allow her to witness your advancement. If you claim you are not desperate for her, then do not capitulate the instant she tests you. Females respect males who follow through on their words, who embody their claims, and who do not alter their persona due to stress or enticement. This is the factor that divides a man she dismisses from a man she regards, and regard invariably precedes want. Steadfastness also fosters a sense of emotional security. Even if she is indifferent to you at this moment, when she perceives you as dependable, anchored, and solid, her mind begins to link you with strength. And that is significant because females are wired to be drawn to men they can rely on. It is not about perpetual perfection. It is about maintaining that same firm version of who you are in all contexts. Not overly excited, not overly downcast, not pleading when she withdraws, not haughty when she approaches. Just stable, just unbothered. Just consider it this way. A man who is erratic in a feeble manner generates anxiety. A man who is foreseeable in a powerful manner generates appeal. If you are steadfast with your conduct, your self-control, and your self-regard, she is unable to disregard you. Over time, she begins to perceive you as an exception. Uncommon because most males falter. Uncommon because most males pretend uncommon, because you persist in demonstrating who you are without faltering. And when she senses that power, even indifference can transform into respect, and respect into want. 7. A mission is the supreme appeal. The final and most potent method to attract a woman, even one who is indifferent at the start, is to exist with a mission. A mission is larger than self-assurance, larger than enigma, larger than appearance or finances. A mission is the flame that propels you, the motive that gets you out of bed, the vision that keeps you progressing even when existence becomes challenging. A male with a mission is compelling because he does not exist for validation. He does not exist for focus, and he does not exist for females. He exists for a greater cause, and that sets him apart. Here is the reality. Females are not instinctively drawn to males who drift without direction through life. A man lacking a path appears adrift, and no woman wishes to trail someone who is unaware of his destination. But when you possess a mission, when you are constructing something, pursuing something, or aspiring towards something beyond yourself, she senses that vibe. She perceives that you are not merely coasting, you are guiding, and guidance anchored in a mission is compelling. Even if she is indifferent at this moment, a mission holds the capacity to alter her viewpoint. Why? Because it demonstrates your lack of reliance on her for joy. It shows that you are not pleading for her to remedy your void. You are already deriving contentment from your objectives, and she becomes inquisitive about that. Females desire the proximity of males who are on a trajectory, males who are creating, males who represent something. A mission makes you an exception because the majority of men currently are sidetracked, indolent, or merely existing for the end of the week. But you are the outlier. And here is the elegance of a mission. It renders refusal insignificant. When your existence is centered on development, achievement, and a legacy, you do not crumble simply because a single woman declines. You continue progressing, you continue constructing, and that resilience by itself makes her question why her viewpoint does not govern you. That interest gradually installs the kernel of attraction. So recall this: females do not develop feelings for men who are dependent on them. They develop feelings for men who motivate them, and motivation is born only from existing with a mission. If you possess that flame in your life, you will not only attract women, you will attract possibilities, regard, and achievement. And once she perceives that, even if she was distant initially, she will no longer be able to disregard you. Conclusion. So, this is the reality most men fail to comprehend. Appeal is not an item you request, it's an item you build. Even if a woman is indifferent to you at this moment, that is not an indication that the opportunity is permanently gone. It simply signifies she has not yet experienced the vibe that makes her inquisitive, the demeanor that makes her regard you, or the strength that makes her perceive you in a new way. Each topic we have discussed, self-assurance, enigma, emotional regulation, self-worth, guidance, steadfastness, and a mission, is a component of the equation. Individually, each holds power. Combined, they reshape you into the type of male that no female can readily dismiss. Think on it. Self-assurance demonstrates your self-belief. Enigma keeps her thoughts occupied when you are absent. Emotional regulation shows your stability. Prizing yourself makes her acknowledge your worth. Guiding instead of pursuing alters the power structure. Steadfastness builds confidence, and a mission unifies it all, making you unstoppable with or without her. This is the framework. This is how a man transforms apathy into appeal, not by pursuit, not by pleading, not by employing tactics, but by transforming into the type of male females instinctively regard and want. The error the majority of men commit is concentrating excessively on her and insufficiently on their own lives. They expend effort attempting to persuade a female to like them rather than developing into the man she cannot help but register. But the hidden key is simple. When you concentrate on your own development, appeal manages itself. When you exist with power, self-control, and a mission, females sense that vibe even if they attempt to refute it. And in time, inquisitiveness transforms into regard, and regard transforms into appeal. Thus, if she is indifferent to you at this moment, do not be alarmed, do not plead, and do not compromise yourself trying to gain her favor. Concentrate on these indicators. Perfect these attributes and observe the narrative shift. Because the truth is, females do not develop feelings for men who pursue them. They develop feelings for men who motivate them, who challenge them, who guide them. And if you grow into that male, her indifference will not be permanent. You will not only attract her, but you will also attract the existence you have always desired. Recall this. Appeal is not based on tactics, it is based on change. And the instant you change yourself into a male of worth, all other things will start to align.